setting is a powerful process for thinking about your ideal future. It also boosts our motivational level, inspires confidence in ourselves, and most important of all, it gives us direction. But for some of us, it can be quite a challenge to set goals and to stick to it. Well, to gain more insight into the process of goal setting, I'm joined by world-renowned human behavior specialist, Dr. John Demartini. Welcome back to Johannesburg. Always a pleasure to have you with us when you're back in town.
Thank you for having me.
Now, we go through different levels of personal development in our life. I would assume that goal setting really is quite a dynamic process and that it really, it requires us to be vigilant. So I suppose the best place to start before we even get to goal setting would be to know what our life purpose is.
Yes, I think that all goals are subcomponents of something that is the main focus and main purpose in life that you're dedicated to. And making sure that there's congruency between the goals allows you to build momentum. Everybody is setting goals, conscious or unconsciously, but the ones that actually take command and get conscious about them and make sure they're clear and concise and really true and authentic and things that are meaningful and the ones that are aligned with what they really want to dedicate their life to, their purpose in life, those are the ones that build up the greatest momentum and achieve the greatest.
So it's a process of deep introspection and you have to be really honest with yourself. But how difficult is it to move unconscious goals into consciousness?
Well, the wisest thing to do, everybody lives by a set of priorities, a set of values in life, things that are most important to least important in life. Whenever they set goals and intentions that are aligned and congruent with the highest values, those are the ones that have the highest probability of being achieved. But whenever they set goals that are, attempt to set goals anyway, that are aligned to lower values or things that are injected by other people's expectations or maybe comparison to other people and think I should be like them, anytime they're not authentic and they're not congruent, those goals have the highest probability of not being obtained, and they give us feedback through negative self-talk to let us know it's time to realign our goals and make sure that they're real. It's wise to start with what you know and let what you know grow, and it's wise to start with ones that are truly meaningful that you can't wait to get up in the morning and do. That's where you get the greatest achievement.
Do we start with our values or do we start with the life purpose, coming back to the life purpose? Because for some people, it can be quite difficult to really ascertain what your purpose in life is.
Well, in the hierarchy of values, the set of priorities we live our life by, the highest value, the ancient Greeks called the telos. The telos was the end in mind. Napoleon Hill called it the chief aim. One of my teachers called it the primary or magnificent obsession. That highest value was so important to the ancient Greeks, they made a study of it and called it teleology, which was the final cause, the ultimate aim. So our highest value is our purpose. And when we identify what that highest value is and set sail and chart a course to fulfill what that is, our purpose, the thing that's most meaningful and most inspiring to us, and then congruently align goals to that, there's no stopping us. I always say that if you set goals that are immortal, you end up creating immortal effects.
Very well put. Now, you've worked with millions and you still work with millions of people across the globe. What are some of the barriers that come up in determining your highest values that you have to break down to get to that purpose?
Well, so many people, because they subordinate themselves and minimize and live in the shadows of other people, they minimize themselves to other people and inject the influence of other people in their life, which clouds the clarity of what's really important to them. And Emerson said, envy is ignorance and imitation is suicide. We're not here to be living in the shadows of anyone. We're here to stand on the shoulders of giants. So it's important to set goals that are really meaningful, because as long as we subordinate to other people, we'll cloud it. So look at what your life demonstrates. Look at how you fill your space. Look at how you spend your time. Look at what energizes you. Look at where you spend your money. Look at where you're most organized. Look at where you're most disciplined. Look about what you think about, visualize, and talk to yourself about most. Look at what you talk to other people about most. Look at what inspires you. Look at what you have as goals that you keep pursuing, and look at what you love learning about. If you take those value determinants and look at what's common to them and set goals that are aligned to that are congruent, you have the highest degree of achievement. You have the highest degree of fulfillment. You master the art of building momentum and gaining support from others to achieve. And you feel like a leader because you're authentic. And this is the key to making great goals into a great life.
And to be somewhat simplistic, I think we all instinctively know and feel what our purpose is and what we ought to be doing with our life.
Well, we do. It's innate within us. And anytime we set a goal that's not aligned to that, we automatically have a less probable outcome, and we have an internalization of what I call the ABCDs of negativity. We'll have an internal anger and aggression towards ourselves when we don't achieve it. We'll beat ourselves up and blame ourselves and feel like we betrayed ourselves when we don't.
And we blame others as well.
And we'll blame other people. We'll have criticism and challenge, and we'll feel despaired and despondent and depressed. So those ABCDs of negativity are feedback mechanisms to let us know we're setting goals that either are not aligned to our values, are not within time and space horizons that are real, they haven't been chunked down and strategized thoroughly, and they're letting us know, go back and refine the goals and make sure they're authentic and make sure that they're ones that we're willing to do whatever it takes to get there. When you can't wait to get up in the morning and do what's most meaningful to you, and you go after goals that are aligned to that, then there's no stopping you. You have a relentless pursuit and a resiliency and adaptability to whatever comes towards you, and you have a fitness and a stamina to be able to achieve great things.
And if you don't follow your heart, you live a life of pain, a life of dis-ease with yourself and with others, a life of having very poor quality relationships.
Well, anytime you're not fulfilled in your life doing what you love, you're a bear to be with. So the relationship you have with yourself, I think the Delphic Oracle and the pre-Socratic said, to know thyself, be thyself, love thyself. Knowing yourself means knowing what's highest on your value, because that's your identity. That's what your life revolves around. And my highest value is teaching. I love that. I'm a teacher. So if I set goals along that, I have the highest degree of achievement. But some people have goals that are related to family, and some are into spirituality, and some into fitness. But you got to be true to yourself and set goals that are meaningful to you, what your life demonstrates. Your life is constantly demonstrating what your values are and what is wise to go and focus on. That's where you have the greatest fulfillment. And when you do, you're easier to get along with because you can love yourself.
Sure. So once we've established what the purpose is, what the focus is, the highest value, the vision, how do we go about setting goals?
Well, I learned a long time ago from Mary Kay, who had Mary Kay Cosmetic Company. She told me after lecturing to her group that every day it's wise to sit down and write down the 6 or 7 highest priority action steps you can do that day that will help you fulfill what you feel is most inspiring and most meaningful, your dream. And write those 6 or 7 things down and find the common threads to what those are day by day so you get the priorities of the priorities. Because the second you get up in the morning and dedicate your life to the highest priorities, you grow in self-worth. You grow in confidence. Because when you fill your day with things that inspire you, it doesn't fill up with things that don't. When you can't wait to get up in the morning and do that, the obstacles are just seen as opportunities. So the key is to prioritizing your daily actions, delegate whatever you can to others that are the actions that need to be done, but really need to be done through other people, and give yourself permission to do something extraordinary, what's really most important to you, so you can live a life that you can say thank you for. When you're grateful for your life, you know you're on track. If you're ungrateful, somehow there's feedback and refinement to your goals.
You also have to develop yourself constantly as well, you know, in terms of following the path that you've chosen to follow.
Well, anytime you're going after something that's meaningful to you, you love learning about it. We always want to learn about what it is that's most important to us. So we end up becoming an expert. We end up developing our skills in the area of the highest values. So if we set goals that are aligned to that, we tend to want to become the expert, and we can't put our hand in the pot of glue without some of the glue sticking as we study and learn. And we become very powerful in our knowledge. And knowledge is power. Organized knowledge towards an end, towards a mission, is very powerful. And it can influence other people. We have mirror neurons in the brain, and so we kind of mimic like monkey see, monkey do. And when we are doing what's meaningful to us and we're exemplifying what's possible as a great achiever, we're giving permission for other people to do the same. And the ripple effect from that through society gives society a boost to do something extraordinary and to leave its mark as a society.
How important is it in the process of goal setting to have a plan of action in place? Would you recommend us to have a blueprint plan of action? Because life happens, and this is the challenge on when it comes to reaching the goals that you've set out for yourself.
Well, if you set a goal that is not aligned with your values, a plan will be frustrating. But once you set a goal that is aligned with your values, a plan is power. I've been doing planning and master planning for my life for 42 years. I have about 1,000 pages in a plan, exactly how I want to fulfill my life, what I want to do. I keep metrics of it. I keep a journal of my gratitudes for what I get to do. It's very well laid out. I spend a lot of time on it. So I believe that a short pencil is better than a long memory. And it's wiser to fill your mind and day with things that inspire you than not. And if you don't plan that, it's going to be automatically taken over by others. in Parkinson's law that states that if you don't fill your day with things that inspire you, that are meaningful, that you can't wait to get up in the morning and do, it will automatically fill up with entropic, things that break you down, experiences and frustrations and distractions that let you know you're not focused on what's important. So planning your life, the executive center in the brain, the prefrontal cortex, is designed for execution of plans and strategies. People who live by planning and strategy, when they're congruent, when they're from the heart, when they're inspiring, are the ones that achieve the greatest.
So I need to do that more often. Plan and strategize, because I'm the type of person what I do is I compile the grocery list, that is, set the goals out. But I also believe that the universe is on my side, and sometimes things just happen in your favor if you have a strong sense of self. So I have a plan somewhere at the back of my mind. When I go back to the goals, somehow it just worked out.
Well, there's a natural spontaneity. If it's something congruent, you have a natural spontaneity and you adapt and you're resilient and you allow it to do it. But I couldn't imagine building the Eiffel Tower or the Great Wall of China or the Great Pyramid of Giza or one of the great monuments of the world without having some architectural design.
Sure.
And I think that whenever we do have some sort of plan, the plan is not to be so rigid that we can't adapt.
We need to be fluid.
Yeah, a lot of times I'll have a plan, and then along the way, greater opportunities will come along that will allow me to adapt the plan. Yeah. So I refine the plan consistently. The plan just gives you more clarity. It gives you some daily actions so you're not hesitant and you're not idle. And it allows you to see opportunities that you wouldn't see. So it's not that the plan is the rigid thing that you can't be wavering from. The plan is simply a targeting direction that you go towards, that you keep refining. It's like a sculpture. You have this image in your mind and you keep removing everything but the sculpture. The plan is basically what you have in mind and all the details you know, and as what you know grows, you add more plan, more detail. And I just know that in my life, my master plan book and my master planning program that I teach has assisted people in doing a great number of things in their life, great achievements in life. So it'd be pretty impossible to convince me that planning doesn't have a value.
Sure. Often what happens when I plan as well, this red flag comes up. The red flag is the saying that goes, motivational energy is subject to circumstantial pressure. And this is what often derails us from achieving our targets as well. But some people actually turn circumstantial pressure into their destiny, which is the tragedy of life.
Well, anytime you're setting a goal that's not congruent, you create a doubt. You create an internal negative self-talk, create an ABCDs of negativity, which then you require motivation to keep focusing on. So if you're needing motivation on the outside, somehow the plan needs replenishing. Because motivation is not the solution, it's the symptom. It's the symptom that you're still not called from within.
Okay.
It's called the calling in theology when it's clear. I've had a dream, as you guessed, for the last 42 years of teaching. I can say that I've never needed outside motivation to do what I love doing. But if I set a goal that's not really congruent, I might. But as long as I'm in line with that, the mission that I have, I'm spontaneously inspired to get up in the morning and do what I love doing.
Let me ask you one last question. What is your highest value?
Well, my highest value is researching everything I can to help maximize human awareness and potential, and to do what I can to disseminate that information in the best possible way to as many people as I can to make a difference. I was told by Zig Ziglar that if I help enough other people do what they would love in life, I get to do what I love in life. So I have an altruistic desire to serve and a narcissistic desire to reward my own life and live an amazing life and have a fulfilling life. So I can't wait to get up in the morning and research and teach. That's what I love doing. That's my highest value.
Well, you certainly are a wonderful inspiration to all of us. Thank you so much for the chat.
Thank you.